name is Christanne Harrison, and I'm a dietetics instructor at Framingham State University. We are excited once again to be collaborating with Westborough TV as our students demonstrate healthy, fresh, and seasonal recipes. We hope that you'll enjoy them and share them with your friends and family.
Hi, we are FSU graduate students. I'm Charlotte.
I am Haley.
I'm Helene, and today we're going to talk to you about how to make the California pasta salad. Haley and I are going to be talking about the ingredients that we're going to use in this dish, and then Charlotte is going to discuss how to prepare the various vegetables in this dish.
So before you get started, remember to wash your hands for 20 seconds, get under those fingernails, just so that you can start with a clean surface.
Alright, so this recipe has a lot of great ingredients. I'm going to show you how to cut the zucchini and cucumber. We're just going to dice them, and I'm going to show you some basic knife skills while I do that. So I've started to cut a bit of the cucumber here, the zucchini, and I'm just going to continue with this other half here. What I did is I held the knife with my finger in the front and my thumb in the back. This gives you a lot of good stability. And then you're just going to slice it in half. And once it's in half like that, you've got a nice flat base. And then I'm just going to cut it into thirds. When you slice, you want to have the tip first and then the end last. I'm going to turn it sideways and kind of even it out here. And then just continue with the slicing to have some nice little triangles. And then I will do the same thing with the cucumber over here. Okay, so now that we've cut the zucchini and the cucumber, I'm just going to show you how to cut the onion real quick. So on here you can see there's a little bit of dry skin here. You just want to cut that off. Set off to the side. And then once you're here, you kind of want to leave this bit on, but you want to slice it in half. What this is going to do, it's going to keep the onion together while you're cutting it. And then depending on how you like the onion, I personally like mine a bit smaller, so I'm going to show you how to cut it smaller. So you're going to want to kind of move your board closer to the edge here, and you're going to kind of slice it across like that. And then you're going to take it, making sure to hold it together because the end pieces will try and come off. And just going to slice it this way. This is what's going to give you a nice dice on the onion. And once that is all sliced, it will fall apart, and that's okay. You just kind of want to take it and then cut it very thinly like that, and you'll have a nice little dice. Okay, and lastly, we have our bell peppers that we're going to put in our recipe. What you have to do is you have to cut off the top part first just so you can get the seeds out. And I cut the bottom just for stability because then I stand it up like that. These bits you can use. This you can put in compost. And then I like to just cut it here and kind of here so it's a little bit in half. I pull it apart and then this just comes right out. And then depending on how you want to cut it, I'm going to cut it pretty small for this recipe. Cut that in half, kind of push this down a little bit so it's flatter, and then you're just going to slice it again. Important tip here is to use what we call a bear claw, so you're going to make your hands go like this. If your hands are like this, you're likely to chop your fingers off, and we don't want that. Just like that, and they're pretty nice and thin. I'm going to cut them into squares so it's better to chew on when we eat the recipe. And there we go. That is how you cut a pepper.
Okay, so now that Charlotte has diced all these vegetables for us, we're now going to start combining the ingredients. So we'll start with the pasta. So here we just have typical white pasta, but a great alternative to this is whole wheat pasta or whole grain pasta. The whole wheat pasta will provide additional fiber, and it will also provide additional B vitamins, so it just has a greater nutritional value. But for today, we'll just use this one. Stir this up here.
So as we can see here, this dish has a lot of great color, and with this color comes a lot of great vitamins and minerals. We have vitamin A, which is great for your eyes, vitamin C, which is great for your immune system. We have some great antioxidants, and in this dish there's a lot of fiber provided through these vegetables. So I'm just gonna go and add these in here. There are bell peppers, cucumbers, alright, these are our cherry tomatoes, and then the onions. And then the last thing will be the olives. Are you ready for that? Yeah, I think they'll fit in here. Okay. And the colors are really pretty. They're all combined nicely together. Makes a very colorful dish. Alright, and then for the purpose of today's recipe, we just have this prepared Italian dressing here. You could create your own dressing or choose whatever you prefer. So in this dressing, there's canola oil as one of the main ingredients, and canola oil is great because it's really high in those beneficial fats, so monounsaturated fats specifically, and those types of fat have been shown to have heart health benefits. And in addition to that, it's also pretty low in saturated fat, which is the type of fat that we want to reduce. So it's a great option. Yeah, so for this recipe, you want to choose your favorite dressing or creative dressing. We've decided to zest it up a little bit today. So I'm going to add in some celery salt, celery seed, some paprika here to give it a good color. And then sesame seeds. Actually, I'm going to use the whisk here. I'll stir this up a little bit. And I'm just going to combine this in here. And I'll mix it up really good. Again, you can see all those colors come to life. And if there's any vegetables here that you don't like, or other vegetables that you do like, you can also, switch out the vegetables based on your preference. Yeah. Anything in the fridge that you want to utilize. Any in-season vegetables now that we're going into the springtime. This is mixed pretty good here.
So for today, for our California pasta salad, these are the amounts that we included in our recipe. So we added a half a pound of spaghetti, 1 medium zucchini, 1 cup of grape tomatoes, 1 medium cucumber, 2 bell peppers, a half cup of red onion, 3 ounces of olives, and then Parmesan to taste. So like we talked about while we were making this, this is a very versatile recipe. So you could use, other produce, specifically maybe some in-season produce like spinach or kale, to really switch this recipe up. And I also want to pull your attention to the olives. So olives are a really great source of unsaturated fat, which when we discussed in the video, or when we were
were making the recipe, olives or unsaturated fat are really great for heart health. And then for salad dressing, this is what we added to an already pre-made salad dressing, but you can also make your own by maybe adding in some extra virgin olive oil, some thyme, paprika, garlic, lemon juice, some vinegar. There's really a lot of ways you can make a salad dressing. So yeah.
Yeah, to Helene's point, Haley also mentioned if there's anything in your fridge that you kind of want to use up, that you have that's extra, the pasta salad is great because you can just add those in, or you can replace it, do whatever. Another thing to keep in mind is that the zucchini and the cucumber are kind of a water-heavy vegetable, so don't cut those up too much because then your pasta salad might get a bit too watery. But for the other things like onions and olives, for example, they're a pretty strong flavor, so the smaller you cut them up, the more of that flavor you'll get, so cut those up per your preference. And obviously, Parmesan to taste, you don't have to add it, especially if you're like lactose intolerant or you just prefer not to add it. Those are options. Okay, so now we're gonna just top it off with some Parmesan to add a little bit of extra flavor. Thank you, Elaine.
We've portioned this off here because we're gonna do a taste test for you.
Kind of compare and see, what we like, what we don't like. Definitely a lot of good flavors. The olives kind of bring out a bit of bitterness that counteracts the sweetness from the dressing, which is really nice. And then the cucumbers and zucchini add kind of a nice crunch, so it kind of gives you a different texture when you're eating it, which is really great.
Really good, really fresh.
And it's also a great way to pack in a lot of nutrients. You have your fiber and vitamins and minerals from the fruits and vegetables, and then you also get your grains, your healthy fats. So great variety of nutrients in this dish.
And we really love this recipe, again, because it's so versatile. If you don't like an ingredient, you can take it out. If there's a vegetable in your fridge that you want to use, you can definitely utilize it in this recipe. It's really great to get some fresh in-season vegetables, and you can add different flavors into the dressings.
Yeah, I agree with Haley. Me personally, I'm not a fan of olives, so I'll probably take them out, but they're pretty good.
Yeah. Well, we really enjoyed making this recipe for you. We hope you give it a try and you enjoy it as much as we do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome everyone, my name is Cindy. I'm here with Ethan. We are dietetic interns at Framingham State University. We're really excited to be on Westborough TV sharing one of our favorite recipes. Today we are going to be cooking a Mediterranean farro salad. It's a great spring option. It's cool and healthy and fresh. So next, Ethan is going to show us some of knife skills while we're cutting up the vegetables. First thing we're going to do is make the farro. Farro is a type of grain. It is a cross between a rice and a pasta. It's a little softer, so it has like a pasta texture, but it can be an alternative to a rice as well. So we put 2 cups of water into our pan. It is starting to boil now. And I have my 1 cup of farro, which uses 2 cups of water to make. Farro is recommended to be rinsed off before we cook it. This can help to remove any surface starch, which can change the texture a little bit. It can make it gummy, so we rinse off all the starch so it's the perfect texture. So our water is currently boiling right now, so I'm going to go ahead and put our farro in to the pan. I'm going to give it a mix here, and I'm gonna let it return to a boil. Farro has a lot of great properties to it. It's a great source of protein and fiber, and it has some good nutrients like magnesium, zinc, and some B vitamins. So it's a great alternative, like I said, to a rice, to a quinoa, to a pasta, and you can make it with any dish as an alternative. So it's coming back to a boil right now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cover it. I'm gonna reduce the heat to low, so it is on a low simmer. And then I'm gonna set my timer to 20 to 25 minutes for it to cook. And then once it's cooked, we'll take it out and we'll add it to our dish.
While the Farro is cooking, I just want to talk about knife skills and the best way to cut some vegetables. I'm gonna overhead cut a pepper, a cucumber, an onion, and some parsley. So a pepper is pretty simple. And what you want to do is you want to cut off the end first. And that opens it up. And you're gonna throw it out. I have this bowl right here for the waste. And then the inside of it, you're gonna just dump into the bowl too. And you want to try to get all the seeds out. Once all the seeds are out, clean off the knife, just get rid of all the seeds. You want to cut it in half, and then in half again. And then you have quarters. And then cut all the quarters, depending on the size, in 2 or 3 pieces. You should try to keep them all equal in size. Once it's in the little pieces, what you can do is put 2 or 3 together, and you're just gonna slice it. And then same thing again, grab 2 or 3 and just slice it. All right, and that is how you cut a pepper. And then we'll just put it into this bowl right here, and we're gonna combine all the ingredients now, since at the end you're just gonna combine them anyways. The next thing I'll go over is cutting a cucumber, and this is about half a cucumber. You wanna cut off the end, cut it in half this way, the long way. So then you have 2 equal sides, and then cut it in a quarter, and then just the same motion as with the pepper, you're just going to go up and down, and you'll end up with small, pretty equal pieces. And then one more time, you're going to cut the cucumber into quarters, and then up and down. And then same thing, we're gonna take the cucumber and put it into the bowl. Now for the onion. We only need half the onion, but just to show from the beginning, this is a whole onion. So you're gonna cut off both the ends. Then you're gonna cut it in half. And then peel off the outer layer of the onion. And then we don't need this half, but for this half, what you're gonna do, there's a lot of ways to cut onion and everyone does it differently. But you can make little cuts this way. And then same motion as with the pepper and the cucumber. You're just gonna go up and down. So the first thing we're gonna do is add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. After that, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Next, I'm gonna squeeze 1 lemon into the bowl. Lemon is very high in vitamin C, which is good for your immune system. And then finally, we're gonna add the spices, which includes 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, a pinch of garlic powder, a pinch of pepper, and a pinch of salt. And then I'm just gonna take a spoon, you can use a whisk, and then just mix it all up. And that is how you make the vinaigrette for the farro salad.
So we're gonna set aside the vinaigrette, and next we're gonna add all the ingredients into the farro. So we have our bowl of cooked farro here. First, we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of cucumbers into it.
The cucumbers are high in vitamin K, and they also have some magnesium and potassium.
And then next we have our red peppers. Oops. Adding the red peppers in. And red peppers contain more than 200% of your daily vitamin C intake, so it's a great source of vitamin C. Next, we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of red onions. And onions contain lots of antioxidants and compounds that help fight inflammation in your body. And then we have a 1/2 cup of feta cheese that we're gonna sprinkle throughout. And a 1/2 cup of tomatoes. And then lastly, we have a 1/4 cup of fresh chopped parsley. We're gonna sprinkle that over the bowl. And then taking our spoon, we're just gonna mix it throughout. And look at all those colors. Very springy. You can see it all mixed in here. And then lastly, we're gonna add the vinaigrette over it. And then we're gonna mix that through. And once it's all mixed through, it's ready to go. And this will store up to 2 days in your refrigerator. So you can have some for lunch now and then save the rest. And here is our final delicious product. We want to thank you for tuning in to Westborough TV and watching us make this recipe with you today. And we hope you get the chance to make it at home.
Hi, I'm Claudia.
Hi, I'm Raíssa, and we're graduate students at Framingham State, and today we're going to be making an oven-baked veggie kebab.
This is a perfect recipe for spring and summer that you can make right at home. And you can grill these if you have a grill, or just use your oven, which is what we're going to use today.
You can use this dish as a side dish, or you can have some meat like chicken, beef, or fish, and you can also serve by itself on top of rice.
Yeah, today we're using mushrooms, cherry tomatoes, red and orange bell peppers, red onion, and zucchini, but you can use any other vegetable that you prefer, like broccoli or sweet potatoes. And you can always make a more traditional kebab by adding chicken or beef chunks for extra protein.
So let's get started.
Okay, so to get started, we've already preheated the oven to 400 degrees, and now I'm just washing our vegetables. And you can just soak them for a few minutes in like a little bin with water. You don't want to use any soap, but you can use like a vegetable rinse if you have one. With the mushrooms, I don't really soak them. They get a little bit soggy if you put them in water for too long. So I'll just quickly rinse and scrub off the dirt with my hands. Now that we washed all our veggies, we can start chopping and dicing some of them. So we're gonna leave our tomatoes whole and our mushrooms. We sliced the zucchini, and now we're gonna get started on our bell pepper. So the easiest and the safest way to do this is just to chop off the ends first. Get right through the stem and then move on to the other end. And then you get a nice flat surface and cut it once in half. And that makes it easier to take the core all the way out and all the seeds as well. Just put those aside, and it gives you a nice even surface that you can put on the cutting board. And I just want them in really big chunks, so I'm just going to do this in 3 and use your bear claw to hold on to the veggie. And then I'm going to turn it and then just slice once the long way, and that gives you a nice big chunk to put on the skewer.
Now I'll show you how to cut the onion. So hold it in the middle, cut the sides, turn it half. Now you can peel the skin. And the reason why we chose the red onions instead of the yellow one is because they taste better. Okay. Now, half again. And I'll be cutting this in 2 parts, just because I think the size will. So now we're gonna be making the marinade. I have pre-measured everything that we're gonna be using just to make it easier. So here I have 1/4 of a cup of olive oil. Here I have 1/2 teaspoon of oregano and basil. So we can use the garlic powder or the diced garlic. Today I'm gonna be using the garlic powder. That's also 1/2 teaspoon. 1 lemon. And a pinch of salt and black pepper. Now all you need to do is mix it.
So now we're going to put the skewer together. So you can put the vegetables in any order, and you just want to slide them on in any order that you want. I'm going to put some bell peppers, my tomatoes, my mushrooms, and some onion as well. So we have our completed skewer here, and you can use a brush, just like a good old pastry brush, or you can use a spoon to just drizzle on the marinade that we made, and just put it right on top of the skewer, and that'll help it cook once you put it in the oven.
So now that we have all our kebabs ready, we're gonna be baking them for about 10 to 15 minutes.
So now our timer went off and we can turn off the oven and take out our skewers. Just want to watch for the heat. And they look nice and toasty. All right, I hope you enjoyed this recipe for a vegetable kebab.
And thank you so much for watching us.
Hi, I'm Susan.
And I'm Mackenzie.
We're graduate students at Framingham State University in the Food and Nutrition Department. And today we're going to show you how to make a really easy chicken fajita sheet pan recipe with a pineapple salsa. So let's get started. So the first step before we start cutting up our ingredients is we're going to turn on the oven here. So we want it at 425 so that it's nice and hot when we're ready to put our food in, and it'll just make the whole process faster. You want to make sure to have the rack in the center of the oven. And the next step, we're going to make sure our hands are clean. I've already washed my hands with soap, and we're just going to rinse off our peppers. And rinsing off your produce just gets rid of any germs that might be on the surface, any dirt. If it's visibly dirty, just rub it a little harder. Okay, so now I'm ready to cut up my pepper. My cutting board here has some rubber on it so it doesn't move around on the counter. If yours does not, you could put a damp towel under it. My knife is really sharp. I'm gonna hold it with my hand up on the blade. It gives you more control. If you hold it back here, you don't have as much control. I'm gonna keep my fingers out of the way of my blade. So to cut the pepper, I'm going to cut the top off. Turn it around and cut the bottom off. Leave those aside. Slice this open. I want to take out the seeds, put them over on the side, and then you can cut off the rest of the white if you want. The peppers in this recipe, we have 3 of them. I have different colors. You can use all the same color if you want. They add a lot of, again, color and flavor and texture to this recipe. They also add vitamin C and vitamin A and potassium. So these are nicely cut into strips. You want them all to be pretty much the same size so they cook evenly. I'm gonna cut the bottoms and the tops as well. I don't like to waste. They don't have quite the same shape, but they taste the same. So now we're gonna add the orange pepper strips to the sheet tray with the other vegetables. I've already cut up the red pepper and the yellow pepper, and you see all the nice colors. There's 1 red onion here sliced into wedges and 3 garlic cloves minced. The garlic and the onions both are a good source of fiber, and they add flavor again and also some color with the red onion. And now we will do the chicken. Okay, so the last step in the chicken fajita prep is the chicken. We did the chicken last, so we're not spreading raw chicken all over the kitchen. I just find it easier that way to do the raw chicken last. So raw chicken can have germs like salmonella on it, it can make you really sick. So do not wash your raw chicken. You don't need to, it can just spread germs. I just opened the package. I'm gonna take out this is a pound of thinly sliced chicken breast. And I'm just gonna cut it into strips here like I've already started doing. The chicken here is a great source of lean protein. It's low in saturated fat. It cooks pretty quickly with the vegetables. If you don't wanna use chicken breast, you can use chicken thighs. You can use pork or beef, shrimp, tofu, beans. This is a really versatile recipe. If you wanna make this during the summer and you don't wanna turn your oven on, you could leave your chicken and your vegetables in bigger pieces and grill them and then cut them up after you're done cooking them. And again, I'm keeping my fingers out of the way here of my knife. So the last step before we put it in the oven is to add our seasoning. So I have a store-bought fajita mix here. I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons to all of our cut up ingredients on the sheet pan. If you want to make your own seasoning mix, go right ahead. You can find recipes online. You can use a taco seasoning. It's really up to you. You can add spices, like make it really spicy if you want. And after the fajita seasoning, we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. It'll just help it cook well and get coated with the dry seasoning. And after I mix this up, I'm gonna use my hands. It's just easier. You can use tongs or a spoon. I'm gonna wash my hands again because now I've touched the raw chicken again. I'm gonna put this in the oven for about 25 minutes. You want to make sure the chicken is cooked. If you have a thermometer, it should be 165 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't, you just wanna make sure it's not pink. If it's not cooked after 25 minutes, you can put it back in the oven. And while this cooks, Mackenzie will show you how to make the pineapple salsa.
So we're gonna begin by washing our hands, getting a new cutting board and a new knife to prevent any cross-contamination from that chicken. So our first ingredient is 3 cups of pineapple. You can use pineapple chunks like I have here. You can get a whole fresh pineapple, or you could even use canned pineapple. Make sure that pineapple is canned in 100% juice, but you would also have to drain it just to make sure it's not too watery. So to cut it up, just cut it lengthwise and then cut it across just so it gets into these small little chunks. It's not going to be perfect. Every piece is a little different. Pineapples are high in vitamin C, which keeps your immune system strong. Vitamin C is an antioxidant, so that's going to help fight inflammation. And pineapple just tastes real great for this salsa. So next we're going to dice up half a red onion, or about half a cup of red onion, whichever works best for you. So you're going to cut it into half, and then you're going to cut off the ends. Get rid of those, cut off the other end, get rid of that, and then you're going to peel off this outermost layer. Just get rid of that. And so for the cuts, first you're going to go in one direction, cutting lengthwise. You can make this as thin as you want. The thinner the better is what I think for the salsa. And then once you've gone the length of this red onion, make sure you keep protecting your fingers. You're gonna go back in the other direction. You can do parts at a time just so it's easier to hold on to. So you wanna get those little small squares in there. Red onion is packed with vitamin K, vitamin B6, magnesium, and potassium. Most people might not realize that, but red onions really do have a lot to offer. So it looks like it's gonna take less than half of a medium-sized red onion. So if you're using a small red onion, it probably will take up the entire half. So our next ingredient is a red bell pepper. Susan already showed us how to get the pepper into strips. So once you have it into strips, you just want to take a couple of those at a time, and you want to dice it up like we did for the pineapple and for the red onion. Just get those small enough to be able to mix in well to the rest of the salsa. You're going to add that to the bowl. And then our next ingredient is going to be a jalapeno. So you want to get a medium jalapeno for this. And you want to make sure that before touching your eyes, you wash your hands thoroughly, or it could sting really bad. So you're going to start by cutting off the top, cutting down the middle to get it in half. And then you want to remove the seeds from the core. You can use a knife or even a spoon, whichever way you're most comfortable getting them out. Jalapenos are high in beta carotene, which is also an antioxidant, and they add a really great kick to this salsa. The salsa is not too spicy without it, but also depending on your personal level of how much you like spice, you can add more or less of a medium jalapeno. So once that core is removed, shake those seeds out, or you can rinse it under the sink to get more of those seeds out. And you just want to do the same thing as you did with the pepper strips. Just cut it in half, dice it up. So to finish up the salsa, we're gonna chop up a 1/4 cup of cilantro. So you can just rough chop it and keep adding it to your measuring cup until it reaches a 1/4 cup. The stems are okay to go in. You don't have to remove any of the leaves off of it. So just kind of squeeze it in there. Again, similar to the jalapeno, it depends on how much of this flavor you like. So that looks about good for me. So I'll add that right in there. Next, we're gonna go to the limes. So what you can do is just cut up a lime into 4 quarters. You'll need about 1.5 limes. So this is a good amount. Limes are high in vitamin C, just like those peppers and the jalapeno, and it adds a great acidity to it. So you can just squeeze those in there. If you have a juicer, you can use that tool as well. So just keep squeezing. Just pause it. So our last ingredient is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If you're worried about your salt intake, you could omit the salt. If you're not worried about it, you can add a little bit more salt, add salt to taste, whatever you really want. Then you can just mix it up. You can store this in the fridge for up to 4 days, or you could enjoy it all right now. All right, so this is the finished product. You can put it in a tortilla, you can eat it over rice, over salad, or just as is. We hope you liked this recipe video and hope you can give it a shot at home. Thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed the show and that you have something to take away that you can use. And as we always end this show, just remember to make every bite a healthy bite.